Welcome back and good day, everyone. This is Kevin Finkel here with another episode of Magic the First Pioneers podcast. On this podcast, we talk all about the Pioneer format, keeping our listeners up to date with what is new, interesting, and powerful in the world of Pioneer. I'm joined here with my co-hosts.
Hello, everybody. I am the Cardboard Samurai Orion. I am from the Tokyo area of Japan, if you haven't gotten that by now.
And you know what? In case you haven't gotten it by now, it's your boy, Ash, from Canada. Great White North. Got to keep plugging Canada. Don't forget about us, please. We're here for some talk about Foundations. The very weird set for Pioneer, and also news.
And news. And can we do a quick catch-up? What have you guys been doing in the world of Magic since the last time we've talked, since I know we've been releasing a little less often lately?
You guys can go first.
Cool. I guess I'm the only one with maybe some relevant or some actual playing Magic stuff. I was at MagicCon Vegas. Vegas was fun. I played in the Secret Lair Showdown, which is a modern event. So sadly, that's not very relevant for here. I did bring Pioneer, but there was just no Pioneer events for me to play in. Because I was jamming out the Secret Lairs, and I ended up walking away with one of the Murktides, which I immediately sold on site for $1,500 USD. Paid for my entire trip, and I got to profit $600 without ever stepping foot in a casino at Vegas, which was very nice. But I've been playing a lot of Pioneer to prep for the RC, which is in 2 weeks. It's been very weird looking at all of the RC meta and preparing for it. Things are coming fast, so good thing we're talking about Foundations for my fellow Canadian and European listeners, because I think we still got our RCs. There's one more region that does still have an RC. I don't remember who, but
Brazil?
No, it's not Brazil. I think it's Taiwan, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Cool.
How about you, Kevin?
I wasn't at MC Vegas, but I was at CubeCon the week before that. That's my latest, Magic thing. Also not Pioneer related. Drove up with Gavin Verhey. Was actually kind of fun. We had him on the show once, and he remembered us, so that was nice. I don't know what if many of our listeners are also Cube fans, but that was a great time. Did a lot of cubing that weekend.
And
how about you, Ryan? Anything new with you?
I've been living vicariously through you guys. I've been following you guys.
All right.
I've just been playing Arena pretty much, and I've been buying singles as stuff that's gone down in price from the last few sets, and just playing casual with friends.
Well, do we want to start with a little bit of Arena news then?
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, because this is the biggest thing that has been on my mind for 2 years now.
So absolutely.
First thing they announced was that Magic Arena is finally getting a Pioneer Masters, and it's going to be online only, of course. They're not going to do it in paper, but we get it in December, I believe. Does that match up with your guys' information?
I think so.
I don't think it's official yet. I don't think they have a date specific, but I think that around that time frame should be when it's out.
I think they said end of the year, which I'm guessing sometime late December. They'll probably do it right before the winter vacation starts.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be listening to this in mid-November, so definitely they've only got a little bit of time. But hopefully next month, December, we'll be seeing it.
And it's about time. It sounds like they've given up on Alchemy. I have never heard one person talk well about Alchemy. Everyone likes, I wouldn't say everyone, a lot of people like Historic. Mm-hmm. And some people like Timeless, but Alchemy is just, come on.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason for that is just because Alchemy is really hard to grow as a competitive format with the amount of randomness that does get introduced into the format with these conjure, I don't know. There's so many dumb mechanics that I can't even keep track of Alchemy.
Spellbook, was it?
Spellbook, Power 9 type stuff. It's just so inconsistent. And it's very unfun for competitive players when it's just who got to draw their Power 9 off the Alpha of the Oracle or type beat. So it's just it's a format that just was inherently going to die. It's just something that was going to be a little bit fun for a bit, and then people just move on. So it's very good that they're bringing back.
Yeah, I feel like I pay more. I feel like I pay more attention to the Alchemy cards, but mostly because I'm I wonder which of these would work in paper that I could just print a copy out and try and play it in a janky deck But yeah, definitely. I'm glad to see the Pioneers finally coming. That makes me much more interested to be playing on Arena because it's going to be the format that I like the most.
Because Kevin, you said you really never used Arena, right? Do you think you'll actually use it once you have the ability to test decks out?
I keep joining it and then getting rid of it. I installed it on my computer and then I every time I try and play it, it's a couple months in between, so I have to re-update everything, and that always turns me off. And then I got it on my phone, and I don't think I've actually played a single game on it. So Yeah, I'll get a little bit more into it. I've got non-zero cards on it, but I'm also a little scared what it would be like to, start from nothing and try and play Pioneer
Yeah,
on
it's gonna take a
Arena.
while.
That might be difficult.
Yeah.
Let me ask another question. So, they're not going to have every Pioneer legal set and card in there. But they have done like standard tournaments on Arena before where people can qualify for, like, I don't know if it's like an RC or whatever for events. Would you guys be against Wizards using Pioneer on Arena to help people qualify for events? Or do you think it shouldn't be used at all because it's not 100% the Pioneer format?
I guess this is my wheelhouse because the competitive person. Yeah, so like I was gonna mention the fact that I think the real reason that I like Pioneer, like as the person that touches no MTGA, I do not touch Arena whatsoever. I rather play my MTGO. The only reason I'd actually want to end up switching over is purely because the online tournaments held through the Arena client are so much better than the ones on Moto. There are so many more opportunities to do well and promote growth on your account and actually like make money from grinding Arena. It's a lot more difficult on Moto. Possible still, but you are able to like qualify for these weekend events, and they're probably going to end up doing it. I don't think it matters with Pioneer Masters. I understand not every single card is going to be legal, but if you can point to a card that will not be legal with Pioneer Masters that does actively see play within the Pioneer format, that's a blow on Wizards. Like they just had to like print something relevant for Pioneer Masters, and it's probably something that's like relatively easily addable. You just have to add one card from now on to like Pioneer Masters or whatever, or just like release it for gems or something dumb. They have ways to integrate it if they do miss something, but if they do actually miss anything, that is just them being Wizards.
So
yeah, we've kind of already got them saying like, hey, if there's something that you want to see in on the Arena and it's not already there, just hey, have it somewhere in your top 64 deck and in a paper tournament, and they'll put it on Arena. So like they're definitely, I think, being conscious of the fact that if it's a card that sees play in Pioneer, it 100% should be seeing play on Arena Pioneer. I also think that, we have it right now where there are 100% decks that you can't play on Moto that you can play on paper. And people, are able to qualify for paper events through those Moto games. So like
combo type
yeah,
stuff,
I absolutely see no problem. Yeah, something like Acererak combo in Pioneer. There, you just can't execute that combo online. And that's, takes a second to do in paper because it really is just like I've shown a loop. I'm going to continue to do this, but there's a million clicks and things if you want to do that online.
Yeah.
And, there's been times where stuff hasn't worked. It's had glitches or, not work the same way it has in paper, and that's always been fine. Even in, like, Legacy, what is it, the Sticker Goblin for a while didn't work the same way online as in paper. So, yeah, all those things I have no problem with there being very slight changes as long as it's not something that's going to affect the meta, and I don't think they would let that happen.
I have more questions for you guys, because this is kind of like where I'm probably going to be speaking the most in today's podcast. Do you guys think, when we switch over to Arena, Pioneer on Arena Online, is that going to bring more people into the Pioneer format? Now that people can actually say, hey, I can get all these cards with a relatively, little amount of cash. I can build these decks. I can test stuff out. I can kind of see if I like the decks at all. Now I'm going to invest in this paper deck, and I've gotten good at it. I'm going to go to an event. I mean, is that Magical Christmas Land thinking, or do you guys think that'll actually happen after we get Pioneer on the client?
I'm in the camp that that's pretty Magical Christmas Land thinking, sadly, because of the competitiveness of the other formats. Okay, so I'm a Magic Arena player. I go online. I play a bunch of whatever formats online. I think the draw to doing it online is the fact that I'm able to just like own a lot of my cards online. I don't have to own them in paper. And I think the thing also is there's right now currently a failure on Wizards' behalf that Pioneer isn't a competitive format for the next year. After this RC, there is no more Pioneer to be played. So there's no reason for me to invest into Pioneer for a year unless these like GP-esque events that Wizards is hosting, they actually make one or two Pioneer. They've only announced standard for these events thus far. So maybe there's Pioneer
and Sealed too, right?
Yeah, and Sealed. They haven't announced anything Pioneer, but there is a chance that they do.
So I do disagree. I do think that I don't think that people will be like, oh, I'm going to go on to Arena and just start playing Pioneer because it's, the format I want to get into. But I think that the whole reason why we were always advocates for a more recent non-rotating format is because people want to keep playing with their cards. Someone who, for 3 months is really into Standard, and then those cards rotate out, they need a home to go to. And I think that Pioneer will naturally pick up players that way because it's like, hey, I really enjoyed this kind of gameplay, and I want to continue to make these specific cards my home. So long as we don't see like a dramatic power spike or power dip where those standard cards don't feed into Pioneer, I think that Pioneer can continue to be that home for, it's going to be the legacy, it's going to be the vintage of Arena, and that's going to naturally draw people into it.
I don't know if it's going to bring in a lot of new players. I mean, that might be a little bit too far down the road because, Standard is looking really good. More people are going to be playing Standard, but they've also made it a lot longer, like the rotation. So, like, these people aren't going to be coming into Pioneer as quickly as we would like. However, I do think that, people like myself who have maybe been taking a break, that have Arena, that, haven't really gotten back into the competitive scene yet, but want to get back into it, but again, don't really know what's good, don't want to spend a lot of money getting back into it. I think it'll get people playing again, if that makes sense.
I understand what both of your opinions are. I very much disagree. I think that as someone that actively attends a lot of these paper FNMs, the route of Arena to joining a FNM type style to get actual paper play is next to none. There's not a lot. It's people that already just existed. Also, I think the fact of just new players immediately going straight to Pioneer is just a thing that's not going to happen purely because of wildcards. People just don't have, I don't know, okay, so I lost, let's say my favorite standard card, Nissa, a Surgeon Animist or whatever. I'm losing this mythic with the next rotation. I'm really sad. I now have to invest so much more into Pioneer for shock lands, for any, the mana base is already just going to blow so many people out of the water for MTG Arena. So Pioneer just doesn't appeal to these casual Timmies that just play standard. They just want to spend their 20 rare cards.
That's what I'm saying. Like I said, myself, coming back as a Pioneer player who took off a year from competitive, just, coming back from casual back into competitive, I think it'll be useful for those types of people.
Yeah, but you also have to understand the upfront cost of how much you're going to have to end up spending on Arena.
I've already made it. Yeah.
Sure.
Or I've already redeemed those cards that I wanted, I guess. But
yeah.
Anyways,
yeah, I guess that's a good point about making the jump from the client to paper. But I do think that it'll bring more people into Pioneer on Arena, which is definitely not a bad thing.
Ashiok, you kind of were talking about not having Pioneer as an RC level event over the next season. I think that's a good segue. Do you want to talk about that next a little bit? Do you have a little bit more you want to say?
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of unfortunate. Pioneer has actually started to pick up a lot with especially the new bands and especially these new sets. I think Duskmourn was actually a really good set for Pioneer. It's created a lot more archetypes than I thought it would originally. So again, another common Ashiok L for set predictions, but. So they've decided that the next RC cycle for 2025 will feature 2 blocks of standard and 1 block of modern. So no Pioneer for at least a year for competitive events, which is quite unfortunate because, like I said, the format's actually kind of getting good and competitive. It's just unfortunate. It's so hard to just try to want to play challenges or do any sort of prep for Pioneer when there isn't a major competitive event to eventually work towards.
Kevin, anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that. I'm hoping that there are going to be more of these, medium-sized event or feeder events, and that will keep interest in the format alive. I also hope that, hopefully the first one of 2026 is going to be a big Pioneer event, and that's just going to kind of naturally lead into it. But yeah, I hope that people won't just, put down their cards and say, I have no reason to play Pioneer. Hopefully people are playing it because they enjoy the format and not just because, I don't know. I don't know how many people are playing at an FNM versus how many of those same people are oh, I'm just grinding out whatever the next competitive format is. So it's hard to tell. I feel like I get a lot more exposure to people playing, grinders, MTG Go grinders, because those are the people who are making content, who are streaming, things like that. It's hard to, see those people who aren't in that spotlight without just being there.
Okay, my hot take is that they need to just kind of bring back the old tournament system. We need Planeswalker points back to get people going to events and playing them to get those. We need to bring back game days to get people to play those events. We need the not the Grand Prix.
F&M promos.
Yeah, F&M promos, but like the Grand Prix trials, and stuff like that for buys and stuff like that. That was a reason for people to kind of play. I think, you were just grinding stuff out in paper. You got people going to your LGS all the time. I know I did. And it's like, now it's like, all right, do I want to spend $20-$30 for a 5-round event that I'm going to go, 03 drop in? No. Especially if I haven't played for like months.
Yeah.
They need to fill up that, between beginning level competitive to, high level competitive, that there's like a huge gap. It's just totally missing. It's a void right now.
I mean, like,
they don't even have nationals anymore.
I don't know. I understand where you're coming from that. Like, the old glory system was pretty good, but I think the problem is that we're looking at this from like a pioneer perspective, which is just like something that WotC is like very much so putting on the back burner while also bringing it forward with Arena. It's very weird, but they do have these like events and these like things that you're even talking about. However, the problem is that they're promoting standard much more than they are putting pioneer. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're now having two standard cycles for the RC. Game days, which are the theoretical our store championships now, can only be standard or the most recent limited. Literally, stores cannot hold pioneer events. Hands are tied. They can only run standard competitive events.
That stinks.
And a lot of players have just existed throughout a lot of players that have just existed throughout their player base. Like, I go to a lot of these like F&M style events in my local meta, so like maybe it's different where you live, but a lot of the players are just playing modern, or they're playing the competitive format, which is standard. Because the reason they enjoy modern is because they just bought their fetch lands and they bought their shocks, and they're fine. They keep the mana bases and they're happy with that. It's a little bit harder now with like the Modern Horizons and the supplemental products or whatever, but I'm not talking about that here because that is this is a Pioneer podcast. But
wait, are you leading into our next topic here? Because
not even. It's not even.
We might come back to that point in a second.
It's not even like these Universes Beyond cards aren't even supplemental. But it's just so difficult because Pioneer just feels like, oh my god, this is my child. I love this thing, and we just got like absolutely nuked, like thrown to the side. Like, they showed us some amount of attention, and now they're thrown away. It's like a divorced parent at this point. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like from the edge. You're like, I don't know. Every once in a while, you'll get your alimony check and you'll get a little cool present, but until then, you're just forgotten about.
Yeah, they've kind of thrown away gradual, consistent growth for exponential growth, and it's gonna totally end.
Like the optimism side of me wants to think that the fact that they're doing this for Arena means that they're going to like hold more Pioneer events because it, quote unquote, is more accessible to people. So like they actually have the chance, because they just never want to recognize Moto ever, which is so wild. But I definitely understand it though. The fact that they just like are trying to promote Pioneer. Hopefully they actually start running more Pioneer events. And some of these GPs type events are, but I am such a pessimist. I don't think it's going to happen.
So, Kevin, were you alluding to the Universes Beyond? Do you want to talk about that next?
Yeah, I think that's a quick mention that's worth talking about, is that they have let us know that moving forward, the Universes Beyond full sets are going to be standard legal, which means they're going to be Pioneer legal.
Yeah.
Some people have mixed feelings about that. I'm excited about the fact that it means that, hey, more cards, a little bit more attention. I think that means they'll probably be balanced towards standard, which probably means they'll be fine for Pioneer. Hopefully that won't mean that they're too weak. But yeah, I really have no problem with that. I know that a lot of people have pretty negative taste. Just, everyone likes to complain online, but I don't have too much to say on that one.
I'm against it. I think it's going to get too confusing. It's just going to... I'm not saying that it's bad to have different types of cards and like, alternate sides and stuff like they did with like, what was it? VOW and things like that. But I think the aesthetic just doesn't match. Like, it's just going to be this hodgepodge something that they've been and right now it's something they've been curating for like 10, 15, 20, 30 years now almost, right? And you kind of expect Magic to have that. So like when you bring in your SpongeBobs and your Marvels and your Final Fantasy stuff, it's going to turn some people away. There's some people will like playing it. There's definitely going to be fans, and it's going to bring in a lot of new people too, I think. But it's going to turn a lot of people away too.
All right. It's the Ashok hot take time. I think, if anything, this Universe Beyond stuff is amazing for Magic. I think it's great. The reason I think it is because if we look at other competitive games, other games that exist that have like these Universes Beyond type beat, but they are massively successful, like Fortnite. I can dress up as Peter Griffin and go shoot down a guy. I can go shoot down. I forget who just got added, but some rapper just got added. So they're taking these outside sources and they're making the game so much better. And then like it's kind of cool to see like different products within it. I think my only real like criticism towards it is they did it this year, so they pushed back the Lorwyn set. So the Lorwyn set's now in 2026. The Lorwyn Revisited or whatever. And I really like Lorwyn. I was so excited to go back. So now I have to wait extra time for my set. I don't really care if I'm casting SpongeBob, because casting SpongeBob to me is the same as casting random made up card by WotC. It's so, who cares? Like it doesn't actually impact Magic ever. Like you're just gonna have Captain America battling against SpongeBob Control with whatever. It's just silly and goofy, and I think that if anyone's like genuinely leaving the game because they're like, this SpongeBob is ruining Magic had many other problems that already just made you want to leave. I don't understand why Universes Beyond was the thing that tipped you off. Magic will still have its identity. It will still have the same love of the card game, but the cards are just called different names, which are still, so who cares? I think it's a big who cares.
So full disclosure, I will be buying an entire box of the Final Fantasy set.
Yeah, I think there's some Universes Beyonds
that's the thing.
People will hate.
100%.
I'll be buying the cards, but I'm gonna hate using them.
Yeah, some people will hate it, but like the second that you get something that's like kind of cool to you, like Final Fantasy, like now you love it. Which I think is just the dumbest thing. Like just love all of it. Like at some point something will be printed for you where you'll love it, and just wait, you'll be fine.
Got it. Do you guys want to move into more of the technical side of things? I heard there was a rule change.
Yeah.
This is a small one. Maybe I can cover that because I'm usually the one talking about specific rule stuff. I think this is a fine change. It's a small change to blocking, where normally when you block and you're double blocking a creature, or triple whatever plus blocking a creature, the person who is being double blocked will decide, okay, I want to deal my damage to this creature first, and then that creature that. And this all happens before damage, and people had a chance to respond where they could like pump the first creature that you were going to deal damage to, and then it would end up not killing any of the creatures. They've just made it that it all happens at once. You decide when you want to do the damage, and the damage is dealt. There's no, game playing. That's really only going to be a gotcha for people who don't know the what's what on that. I think it's a pretty minor case. Theoretically, it should encourage slightly more attacking. Maybe it'll encourage slightly less double blocking because you have less opportunity to gotcha with a pump spell. But it's a pretty small change. Really, I don't think this should impact many people at all.
No,
is that how it is online?
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm trying to think if that... I guess you can react. Yeah, I guess that is how it is. Yeah. So they're going to have to change the whole clients and everything on the Arena, and I'm guessing in TGO as well.
Yeah, not really. Like, you just have to change, like, blocker step. It's like, it's such a menial change that I think it only will ever impact limited and maybe standard. That's about it.
Okay.
It's not going to... Like, you're never using a Monstrous Rage, which is the card that sees play, defensively. So, like, it's a big... If you play limited, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you can't gotcha with your giant growth or whatever. Like, sure. Sometimes you just lose blocking order on that. But a majority of the time, this doesn't really do anything for anyone. Who really cares? If anything, it's more like, why did we do this? Like, I don't really understand. Like, maybe there's some cards in the future that get printed that, like, change it. But for the most part, this is, like, a pretty pointless change. But...
Anything else we need to talk about? Because I know you said you wanted to talk about Foundations at the beginning, but is there any other big news that we missed? It's been a while since we've talked.
There's been a lot of RC stuff that's been going on. A whole lot of... I think there's only 2 left. Or 3 left, as like we said earlier. There's no real big changes or anything within the scope of Magic. So I think it's just foundations.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, moving to foundations then.
So
we're not going to do a full set review for foundations. We were talking about it a little bit. It didn't seem like there were enough cards. There are a lot of reprints in this set, and a lot of those reprints were things that were already existing in Pioneer because it makes sense.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do, I know, like I got you guys to compromise with me, and you guys wanted to just do a top 5, and I'm like, well, let's do a top 10. Since we're not going to be talking about a lot of cards here. But before we do that, I would like to hear your overall kind of reaction to this set. How do you feel about, the galleries or the spoiler list after seeing everything?
This set's like originally intended for standards. So like with Pioneer, you get a couple of misses of like some reprints. Like half of the set is cards that are already like Pioneer legal. That's just kind of creating like a standard All-Stars type thing. However, there are cards that do exist in this that are like surprisingly kind of cool, kind of powerful. I'm kind of like happy for it for Pioneer because like sometimes we're getting like this, oh my god, this modern card that I used to play in like 2016 is now legal in Standard and Pioneer. So now I get to play it. Are the cards good? No. But you do get the chance. And so like it does open up this window to where now like I can play this Genesis Wave combo deck, or I can play Elves now when maybe go 3-1 at my FNM. Like it's very it's a lot of it's very whatever, but there are some bangers.
Hey, what do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, it's not something that I'm too excited. It's going to be in print for 5 years. I feel like there's going to be a few cards that look expensive at the beginning, but as far as for Pioneer, I wasn't like wowed. Like it definitely doesn't feel like a full set should, the way that a full set would normally have an impact on the format. There's definitely a few cards that I think were worth talking about though, which is why we kind of did like a top 10 list each, and that's what I thought we would kind of do, is just kind of go over like what we think maybe are the most impactful cards rather than going through card by card on everything for this set.
Yeah. So my first reaction, or I guess you could say just my reaction in general, the vibe of this set, after looking through like the whole gallery, it kind of reminds me of when I got into Magic back in like Revised and like 4th edition and 5th edition, just like the magic of looking through all these cards. You didn't care about the story. You just saw these really cool creatures or these cool spells. I'm really digging the aesthetic. I'm really liking how they built this format. Like you said, also, this is going to be in Standard for 5 years. That's absolutely insane. But there's a lot of reprints, which of course drives down prices, and I think maybe that's one of the things they wanted to have, a way to kind of keep prices down on stuff for a while. There's a lot of playable cards in not only Pioneer but also in other formats that really needed these reprints. And I'm actually really excited. I'm more excited for this set than I have been for like the past few sets, I think. I mean, I was pretty excited for Duskmorn, but before that I was like, eh. But I think this is going to be a great launching point for Magic the Gathering going forward. But
no, I agree.
That's my 2 cents.
I agree. I think they had to be very careful because of cards that they printed in here, because it's going to be illegal. It's going to be legal in Standard for so long. But I think they did a really good job of like what cards they picked.
Yeah, but I would love to do. I mean, just for future reference, I'd love to do a deck. Make our own decks, brews in the future with all these new cards, because there's a lot of stuff we're not going to be able to talk about today, and I would definitely love to talk about them. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys are up for a brew episode in like 2 weeks.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys want to jump into your top 10 then?
Sure.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, it's a good time for that.
Do you want me to go first? I'm down.
Yeah, you can go first.
All right, so I have some honorable mentions. One of them is Doubling Season. That's a reprint that's going to be legal. It's obviously not very good, but God, someone's going to do some dumb thing, and I'm going to see it on Twitter. So shout out to that person. I just want all my Timmies to know that Doubling Season is legal. So go have fun with that one. My other 2 honorable mentions are 2 7-mana cost cards.
Yes.
That might see play Enigmatic because, 7-cost cards you always just have to look at through that view. One of them is Sire of the Seven Deaths. It's a 7-mana 7/7 with 7 keywords. Not going to go over them. They're like relevant. And then there's Herald of Eternal Dawn, which is just Platinum Empyrean with Flash and like 6/6. Not Platinum Empyrean, Platinum Angel. Card's pretty good.
I
Go for it.
I wanted to talk about those, but thank you for naming those, so I didn't seem like silly for naming that. Those are fire. Already fire for your list. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, they're definitely not the worst options that we had possible. Then Trigon Predator at number 10 for me. Trigon Predator is a 3-mana 2/3 in Simic that whenever it deals combat damage, you get to destroy an artifact or enchantment the defending player controls. And it's like a flyer. So it's like Glissa type vibes. Glissa doesn't see a lot of play right now, but I think it's just because the format around it. However, if artifacts and whatever become really playable, Trigon Predator might be. Then we're going into Drake Hatcher. This one is like a prowess style card. I don't think it's gonna be very good, but whenever you deal combat damage, you get to make a 2/2 sometimes, which is pretty relevant. Maelstrom Pulse. This one is another reprint. I'm very mad because I sold my invocation of it like a couple weeks ago, so I'm down some value, which makes me so sad. It destroys a permanent and all other names, all the permanents with the same name. So you end up getting a lot of value that way. Killing all the things, killing all the tokens. Crystal Barricade is in number 7 for me. This is a 1 and a white 0/4 wall that says that you have hexproof and you prevent non-combat damage to other creatures you control. Yeah, so you just like you stop a lot of this burn hate. Sorry, it's a burn hate card, which I think is like quite cute. Love it for its purpose there. Going off the list, we have Kellen. Kellen is just Figure of Destiny in the format. For those who don't know, it's pretty good. I'm not going to go over all the abilities because it's just so much text, but it's just a card that ends up growing. Oh wait, sorry, I skipped one. 6 is Raise the Past, which is 4 mana, 2 and 2 white. Return all creatures that cost CMC 2 or less to play. Return to the Ranks has officially been outdone. But yeah, so Kellen,
better than the Rally Ancestors as well.
Yeah, better, so much better. Because like that one, you would get back all your 2-cost cards for 4 mana and then still have them be exiled at end step. This one doesn't. But Kellen is number 5, which is like a Figure of Destiny type card. Number 4 is Elvish Archdruid. This one is actually like kind of playable for elves, which is like kind of cool. It's 1 green 2/2. It gives all your other elves +1/+1, and you can tap it to add green mana equal to the amount of elves you control. This is kind of what elves has been missing, just like a mana producer lord. So go them. Burst Lightning is my number 3. Burst Lightning is 1 red instant, deal 2 damage, but if you kick it for 4 mana, it deals 4 instead. This card is just like a pretty decent removal spell that also can just go face, so go that. Expedition Map. This one's a 1-mana artifact that you can pay 2. Go get a land from your deck, and this one's just going to see play in Lotus Field. Not having a window of opportunity to on the play have your Someone's Cry and never get thought seized. Very nice, very good. And then the last one is Bolt Wave, which just deals 3 to the opponent for 1 mana, 1 red. It gets through Leyline. It's insane. We got Lava Spike in the format. I actually think Burn is going to be really playable going into this RC. Yeah, that's my top 10.
Here.
I'm not sure how much we wanted to talk about and go over individual cards, but I assume that y'all wanted to talk about them when they're in your top 10, so...
Yeah.
I think that was a fine way to go through it.
Yeah.
Kevin, you want to go, or should I go?
I can go. I've got a few that are the same here, so let me try and go over the ones that I have that are the same. I had Kellen on my list. I had Bolt Wave on my list. I think Crystal Barricade is definitely one that's being a little slept on. That just seems like such a cool sideboard card. We're talking about how good Burn is going to be, but that thing is going to be mean against Burn, which is exactly what I love. I know I'm going to go off into a rant, but I love when there are powerful abilities and there are ways to hate them. It makes for a great format. When there's not ways to hate powerful cards, it just lets them run away with things. When there aren't powerful cards, it just makes for a boring format. So having both, that seems perfect. I had Elvish Archdruid on mine. I had Expedition Map on mine. Outside of that, I did think that a couple of the big splashy cards, I was interested to see what they could do. This new Sphinx of the Forgotten lore, it's like a 3/3 flash flying Sphinx that when it attacks gives something flashback. So it's closest we've gotten to a Snapcaster Mage, yeah. I think that's pretty cool. I did have, maybe they're honorable mentions, but Tarian Mauler is on my watch list because I was really mad when we went to Keldheim and we didn't get any changelings that were actually playable pretty much. Having a even close to playable changeling, like just that tiny bit closer to playable, I will definitely be looking out for some of the jank typal decks that I like to run. And kind of on that same note, I want to honorable mention the newest Cat Lord. We've got like a dozen Cat Lords at this point. It's probably worth trying them in a Coco deck again just to see what could happen. So the Arabo, the First Fang, is our latest one. It's it's a Cat Lord at 3 mana, and when it or another cat enters, you make it a cat. So definitely comes with some bodies. Let me see if I had anything else here. I did shout out the Abyssal Harvester. This is that reanimation demon that is also just another demon. Cheap demons when we've got a demon deck in the format, I think is pretty cool. And then lastly, I want to try out the Bloody Conquistador, which is the new vampire that is also an exquisite blood effect. I think that's pretty cool. It's probably too expensive now that we don't have Sorin, but it is still, there might just be a vampire deck, or there might be a combo with that and like the Enduring Tenacity, which is really easy to do and is also standard legal for those who care.
Jeez. I really wanted to mention like all of the vampire aggro cards that they spoiled, but I'll have to save that for my brew episode. Everything from, what was it, Eldrazi or World Weight? No, sorry. Zendikar Block is back, basically, right? Yeah? No?
Yeah, big Eldrazi and some vampires, I suppose so.
Pulse Tracker. Yeah.
We don't have the good one drop. We don't have, there's definitely some things missing.
Yeah, Gatekeeper Malik here is good vibes, though. I don't think that card's playable anymore, but that card's good vibes.
Calastia, what was it? Calastia Keeper or something? The 2/2.
The 2/2 that saw like very minor play for a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. All right, my turn.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off my honorable mention. Leyline Axe. I posted the combo in our Discord a little bit earlier. Basically, you can play this like a Leyline. If you have it in your opening hand, you put it right into the battlefield. It gives +1/+1 trample and double strike, and it has equip 3. Now, if you have like 1 or 2 of these, let's say in your opening hand, and you play a turn 1 Fervent Champion, which has any equipment cost 3 less to equip, you can basically hit like 4 damage, 8 damage, 12 damage. If you have 4 in your opening hand, you can basically kill them on turn 1. This is such a super Timmy card. I love it. Bolt Wave is my number 10. I wasn't sure how good Burn is going to be, but again, that's a great burn card. Sky Knight Squire, I believe that's a 1 and a white cat, 2/2 flyer. And let me pull it up real quick. Sky Knight. Yeah, so it's a 1/1 cat, and it says whenever another creature you control enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and as long as this creature has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has flying and is a knight in addition to its other types. We had that, what was it, the Jackrabbit thing? Like it has power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you have in play, and that was great for a while, I think, in like the Boros deck. But like when all those other creatures are dead, that dies too. Where this is a little bit better. Like you're gonna get that. How can I say? You're going to have a huge threat that's flying left over after all your other creatures die. So I like that. I have Genesis Wave at 8. I think Mono Green's been missing some stuff, and Genesis Wave can put a lot of stuff into play really quickly. What was it? A Mirrodin Besieged card, I think?
That was a Scars of Mirrodin.
Scars of Mirrodin? Yeah, so basically, if anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's X and 3 green. It says reveal the X cards of your library. You may put any number of permanent cards with mana value X or less from the battlefield among them onto the battlefield, and then put all the cards revealed this way that weren't put into your battlefield into your graveyard. So, I mean, you're making a bunch of mana with Nykthos, and then you can just play a bunch of cards off the top of your deck, and then even make more mana after that. And I'm guessing, does that put in lands as well?
It will, yeah.
It will. Yeah, that's definitely going to see some play in mono green, I think. My next card I have on my list on number 7 is Slag Storm. I love this card when it was in standard because not only is it if you're going to go burn, this can go three to the face. It does 3 damage to opponents. Or if you need to wipe the battlefield, it does 3 damage to all creatures. So I love that ability to kind of switch between, hey, if you just need damage, 3 damage, or if you need to clear the battlefield so you can stay alive, do that. So I think that'll see a lot of sideboard play. Predator Ooze, 1/1, green. This was from Dark
I was thinking
Ascension.
about shouting that one out. That one's cool.
Yeah, so Dark Ascension, whenever it attacks, it puts a +1/+1 counter on it. And this is just something I think, again, mono green. It's a 3 mana, 3 pips that cannot be destroyed.
I remember when mono green was a hardened scales stack.
Yeah,
bring that back.
Yeah, but I think,
hey, give us Walking Ballista back. Card's gone, right?
Yeah, but it's indestructible.
We just need to get rid of Heliod.
We're gonna have to bring back Tragic Slip so we can kill this thing. That's what.
Or Soul Scar Mage, maybe.
Yeah. Soul Scar Mage does see a lot of play right now.
Yeah, but Predator Ooze, I have that on my list at number 6. Maelstrom Pulse, number 5, which you guys talked about. Kellen, Planner Trailblazer, I have at number 4. Not for the reasons you guys, said. Yeah, of course, it is a figure of destiny, but it's also a legend. So hey, guys, going in the Bard class, it's gonna be insane. Next, Deathmark. I think that's one of my favorite hate cards. It's a 1 mana instant, I believe. It's sorcery. Okay, it's black, but it's 1 mana, destroy target white or green creature, and I think that's just going to see a huge amount of sideboard play in black decks. Number 2, Elvish Archdruid. I really think Elves is going to be playable. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it's going to be definitely playable after this set. And then my number 1 is Day of Judgment. We have not had a board wipe that doesn't do anything but wipe in forever, and it's 4 mana. So it's better than all those ones that say, hey, your opponent gets a card, or do this. It's just 4 mana, destroy everything. It's going to go into every control deck imaginable, so I think it'll see a lot of play.
I think Supreme Verdict is just
oh yeah, if you have white and blue.
Yeah, majority.
But if you're not playing white and blue.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But all right, thank you guys for letting me talk. Again, I'm really excited to do a brew episode with these new cards in the future. So
I'm down. We didn't do one for the last set, and it's probably late enough that now I know that none of my brews were good, but I wouldn't at least mind shouting them out. So we can definitely do that. I'll find some stuff that's new, some stuff that's slightly older. Yeah, I'm down to do that sometime soon.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, you guys want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. Nice and quick episode for the most part. Thank you guys for listening. So go ahead and follow us on X at MTG Pioneer. We haven't set up Blue Sky yet, have we?
No. You said we...
No, keep meaning to do that. I have not gone and taken the time to set one up there. Yeah. But for now, we're still on Twitter. We'll see where things are moving after this. We'll make sure you're updated. The other thing to do is go ahead and follow you'll find a link from there to get to our Discord, where we chat about all kinds of stuff. We can give you messages when there's important events. We can let you know if there's bans, anything like that. All that kind of fun stuff. Talk to other Pioneer players. Yeah.
Yep, and you guys can find me on... a couple places now, actually. Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Yo Japan Hobbyist. I'm also on Blue Sky, Yo Japan Hobbyist. I'm on Twitch, Yo Japan Hobbyist. Or sorry, The Japan Hobbyist. Sorry. I'm The Japan Hobbyist, I believe, on Blue Sky. It's one of those. I'm sorry, I can't think. It's early in the morning for me. So, yeah, find me there. I'm also on Discord all the time. Ashiok?
What up? It's your boy, Ashiok from Close. You can find me, Dreams of Ashok on Twitter, Ashok Nightmare Weaver on Twitch. Don't stream as much recently, but it's just because of RC prep. I usually give shout outs here. I'm going to give a shout out. This news just broke out today. I don't even think you're aware of it, maybe Kevin, but J-Bro, the guy that founded CubeCon, has passed away. So
I did see, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really sad time, but shout out to friends and family. Love J-Bro. He was a great guy. Yeah.
Right.
All right, well, that's going to bring us into our episode. Thank you guys for joining me together to talk about some Pioneer. We don't get to do this enough. And thank you to everyone out there who is still listening. We appreciate you guys so much. We love to be your go-to source for Pioneer information online. Your first pioneers are founding out.